All right, well, welcome to the first podcast over at Music Lessons Arizona. It's the first day on Tuesday of a rainy series of days. Here we got rain on Tuesday, probably Wednesday and Thursday. And we thought this would be a perfect time to talk about practice, because what are you going to do on a rainy day? Can't go outside, can't run around, gonna stay home. What are you going to do? Hey, maybe the cable's out. You know, maybe the electricity goes out. What are you going to do? Practice is probably a good thing to do. So we figured we'll talk about practice today, some tips for practicing, what makes your practice fun, effective, what we've learned in our experience, and hopefully this helps you guys out, you know, in your practice and you have fun with your time in your practice.
Right. So when you're learning a musical instrument, and you do need to practice in order to make progress. So what exactly is practice?
That's a good question, right? What is practice? How do we define practice, right?
Right.
I mean, I would probably say, like, you know, practice is the repetitive motion or action to improve in your skill.
Right.
So what do we do to practice? I mean, you know, obviously we practice in music. Athletes practice. What else? I mean, maybe if you're a speaker, you have to practice giving your speech. You don't just walk up on stage and give your speech.
Right.
Right.
And of course, us musicians, all musicians, or if you're learning a musical instrument, you have to practice as well. And so practice is a repeated exercises that you do for proficiency. So you have to do a regular practice in order to make improvement in your skills.
Everybody understands the concept of practice, right? We're going to go through the motions. We're going to try and improve ourselves, right? But the key is, and what a lot of people struggle with, is how do you do your practice effectively so you're reaching your goals, you're working towards something, and let's say this is in a musical context. So I think the first step is, why are you practicing?
Right.
Like,
What's the purpose of practice? Right.
What are you doing it for? Why are you working on X, Y, and Z? Maybe you like it. You know, maybe there's a reason, there's an event, you have a performance coming up. Okay? But I think the first step is what's your goal and how are you going to work towards that and structure your time to make that effective?
Yeah, that actually brought up a really good point, because think about if you were going to a gym and you have to set a goal. You're going to the gym and you need to have a game plan, what you're going to be doing first and how many sets that you're going to do, and then for how long you're going to be working on your cardio. So it's the same thing with your musical practice.
Well, let's back up for a second. Like, it really practice, the main aspect of practice we could relate to the gym. Everybody knows how the gym works.
Right.
Right? The way that the gym works is that you go in and you have a goal in mind before you go in, right? So the first thing is, if you don't have a goal, usually you're just going to wander around from machine to machine. You don't have a structure. You don't have a plan. You'll do a little bit of this. You'll do a little bit of that. You'll hang out at the shake bar or something like that. You'll talk to some people. Hey, how's it going? You know, you're there for 30 minutes, an hour. Okay, and then you leave and you go, I don't really know what I did. I don't really know if I got anything done. Maybe you had a good time. That's great. But the other thing is, do you have a result from that?
Right.
Okay, so look, I'm going to make the comparison from, you know, how the gym works and how I think of music that way, or how we think of music that way.
Right.
Let's start with the goal. To me, if you're at the gym, I think there's three main goals. Right? Can I go through these three main goals with you?
Yeah, please, go ahead.
So the first goal would be, you know, maybe you want to improve the way that you look. Right? You want to improve your physique. Maybe you want to attract somebody you really like. Be like, oh, you know, if I just got a little bit more muscular, that person would be like, oh yeah, I want to go out with that person. You know, whatever. Maybe you want to be more attractive, right? Okay, so you're going to work on the gym. You're going to work on your appearance. That's one. Okay. Number two would be health. You want to live a healthy lifestyle.
Right.
Right? Okay, so, you know, I want to be able to, you know, work on my cardio, be able to have more endurance, be more energetic during the day so I can accomplish more.
Right.
You know, I don't want to put on those extra pounds, you know, and I just want to have a healthier lifestyle, feel good about myself. Okay, so I'm going to do my gym routine about that.
Right.
Not so concerned about muscle or all that. I just want to be healthy, right? And third, and I think this is probably the most similar to musicians. You know what it is?
Yeah, I think to persevere.
To persevere?
And, yeah, and just to have a
Well, third reason why. What would third reason why somebody would go to the gym? A goal for somebody would go to the gym.
Well, I think it's because they want to train their endurance and their consistency.
Well, I think you said it right there. Training.
Right.
Training. Who
So
trains?
it's the training.
Who trains at the gym? Who trains at the gym? Athletes train at the gym. Athletes train, okay?
Right.
They go through their exercises, their weight routine, their weight resistance. They're training for the event, the game
Right.
or the event. Okay,
Yeah.
now this is where I think musicians and athletes are very similar. I used to be a sports guy in grade school. By the way, I hated the gym. They used to make us do it, and I wish I was like, oh, now I understand the reason for going to the gym. Okay, but the athlete trains at the gym so that they can perform better in the event, in the game.
Right.
Okay, so I think the same thing for musicians. If we train like an athlete and work on our skills with in mind that we're going to play or perform, right? I know a lot of people are concerned about that. Oh, you know, I'm too nervous to play for other people or that kind of thing. We all feel that way. But the musician, the successful musician, I think thinks about the performance and says, I got to train for the performance like an athlete would train. So when we train, we do reps.
Right.
Right? The gym process is basically reps. So if I'm going to the gym and I need to work on my arms to get strong for whatever reason, I'm going to do reps.
Right.
Okay? I'm going to do about 12 reps in a row. That's a set. High level of accuracy. Probably do about 3 or 4 sets. Controllable weight. Repeat the process. Make it a routine. And over time, we know if we do that, we're going to get muscle. We're going to build.
Right.
Music, same way. We want to structure things in reps, and we're going to build our skills off of that. So we'll talk more about how that works. But, you know,
Yes.
I think the successful practicing musician has their goal. They have an event to perform at, and they train like an athlete.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So what I was going to say is I have my thoughts and my opinions about practice and training and what to think about. And Sherin has hers. You know,
Yes.
Sherin is a classical musician. Right? So classical music, and I think the practicing and the way that classical works is different than if I'm playing, you know, the music that I play is popular music, rock, blues, funk, and jazz, and things like that. So
Yeah,
I think we talk about, there's some differences. But
Right. The practices are certainly a little different from classically trained musician and also just doing the popular music and or doing jazz kind of practice. But there are it's good that we all do the practice, but there are also some times where you have done so much practice and that you do not get the results that you want.
Well, that's the big thing, right? So you're going to put the time into the practice. You definitely don't want to feel like you didn't get anywhere.
Right.
And you don't want to feel like discouraged or frustrated.
Right.
Right? So real quick, I say if you're feeling that way, if you're feeling frustrated, discouraged, you're not making progress, then your routine and the way you're going about it probably needs to change.
Yes.
Because your routine should make you feel productive and you're getting results.
Yes, and a good teacher will help you and lead you to the point where you can actually see results in doing what you do. And so this is why at a gym, there are people where you can buy for the monthly membership where you can just go in and exercise on your own.
Well, it's
but
personal
you can
trainer.
also have personal
It's a personal
trainers.
trainer.
Right.
You know, look, you have them at the gym, right? Athletes have them.
Yes.
They got their coaches watching what they're doing.
and they have chefs.
chefs,
Right.
personal trainers for chefs. Too many eggs in that batter there.
Right.
Yeah. So
Eat more protein.
yeah, or whatever. Is somebody overseeing something to guide you through? And so that's one thing that we definitely do when we teach is we're trying to show people how to practice effectively like a
Right.
personal trainer would at the gym.
Right.
And ultimately, once you get the idea of how to practice and you know how to do that,
Yes.
then you can be more independent.
Yes, exactly.
So what are some things that you look for when you help a student practice, or what are some tips that you give some of your students on how to practice? Let's say it's a piece of music, a classical piece, or something like that.
Yeah, so when my student has trouble practicing something, it really depends on what they are struggling with. But there are two main type of practices. out there that has been, working very well. So the first one is called block practice.
Block practice.
Yes. And the other one is called random practice.
Okay. Block and random practice.
Block and random practice. So I have done a lot of research between block practice and random practice because when I was growing up practicing piano, I have noticed that there are certain type of practices has been helping me a lot, and there are also certain type of practices that did not help me as much. And so I took the initiative to find out why this type of practice is not working as well as the other.
So real quick, block practice. When I've never heard the term really block practice.
Sure.
I've heard it before, but block practice to me, does that mean it's like a chunk of time, like a block of time?
Yes. So what a block practice is that when you play a piece of music and you notice that you have struggles in this specific section, where block practice meaning you're going to be practicing just that section alone repeatedly.
Okay.
For a while. For a while.
Yeah.
Okay?
Like the repetitions.
Right. So you're just
Right.
repeatedly doing the same motion over and over again. And where random practice
Well, before we go
means-
into random,
Okay.
just so people understand, right? You're taking a section of the piece of music you're working on.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that is going to be your repetition. So a mistake a lot of people make, and I think with piano students, what they do is they look at the music and they just try and read through everything.
Right.
They just play everything, right? So when you're doing that, yeah, you're getting through the piece, but you're never really honing in on one little area of the piece to really tighten it up. So there's no point to go on to something else. You take that little chunk,
Right.
and here I do this with the music that I work on and how I teach my students. You take that little chunk, make sure you can play that little chunk, and you probably have to do about 4 to 8 times in a row, maybe 12. That's your reps. Accurately, you need to have like 95% accuracy on that. Because if you don't, then muscle memory kicks in. Either way, we want muscle memory to work for us.
Yes, we want the muscle memory, but be careful though, because you don't want to just have the muscle memory, but your mind will also have to be engaged. And
Absolutely.
so this is why the block practice, yes, it works, and it works well for a lot of people, yes. However, block practice, when you do that kind of practice, it only stores in your short-term memory. So I have met a lot of students that come in and study with me. They say, oh, I practiced so much today. I spent 2 hours and 3 hours practice today. And then the next day, I went back to practice the same thing. But then it seems as if I just have forgotten everything that I learned the day before.
Yeah, and that's what you don't want to happen.
Right.
You don't want to
exactly.
you don't want to put 2-3 hours into a session and not retain anything.
Right.
Like that's not so to me, you're better off doing 15 or 20 minutes. Right? Here's the thing you got to be careful about is if you do 2 or 3 hours, that's a lot of information.
Yes.
The more information that you take on, the harder it is to retain most of it.
Yeah, and besides, your mind is fatigued pretty much after 2 hours of your practice, and especially, I'm talking about an actual musician, an advanced musician who's practicing. If you practice more than 2 hours, for example, for myself, if I practice more than 2 hours, then I feel like my mind is not retaining information anymore. So anything that I practiced over 2 hours is basically a waste of time. Yeah.
Or, well, maybe for you. So this is where I think our practice routines differ. Okay? Because I could go practice for 2 hours. Now, 2 hours straight, that's one thing. Usually it's better to do maybe a 45-minute chunk and take a 15-minute break to fresh the mind up. Because your mind's going to get mentally burned out. Okay? The other thing is, I think, and we'll talk more about some of these strategies, is how do you manage your time practicing so you're not mentally exhausted? Some things musically that you're working on, particularly new things, can be very, very draining. So you might only be able to do maybe 20, 30 minutes before you max out your mental CPU. But like if I'm at the gym, which I don't go to the gym, but if I was at the gym, right? We know how the gym works.
Yeah, look at him.
Thanks. I probably need to go. Someday I will, right? I can take my musical practice routine and apply it to the gym. But here's the thing is when you go to the gym and I'm doing this, okay, does that require a lot of mental capacity?
Not really.
For me to do a lift.
It's just a physical.
Yeah, it's
a
just physical
thing.
If I'm on the treadmill, if I'm on the elliptical and I'm running on that, do I have to exert a lot of mental energy to do that? No, I don't. You don't, right?
Right. You
so
don't.
the thing is, you just got to go through the motions and do it, right? Let it do the work for you. Let it ingrain in muscle memory. If you're getting mentally overloaded with what you're doing, then you got to find a way to make it more like a workout. Let the repetition sink in. Let the muscle memory take over for you, and be patient with the process. Now, the flip side to that. And this is why I think this is the real reason why I don't like the gym is because it's boring. It's boring. I don't want to get on the elliptical and, be running on that thing for 45 minutes and just doing that. I'm looking at the time like, oh my God, I got 30 minutes left.
See, this is why when you go to the gym or if you have a home gym, I'm sure you have a TV screen or you will see people trying to listen to music while they're exercising. It's because the physical repetition is just so boring. But music is very different because you get to listen to the music that you produce. And so it requires for you to listen very carefully to the tone that you're producing. Now, this is extremely true for classically trained musicians. Now, I'm not sure if it works the same for popular music, but because in classical music, there's so many dynamics, meaning you have to play something louder, something softer, and you need to play some notes with more stress, and you have to hold some notes longer. There's just a lot to think about and a lot to do.
And this is what I'm talking about with that kind of music is because when you have all that to think about, dynamics and all that kind of stuff, it's overload.
Yes.
So what you need to do when you're going about that is not try and do everything at once.
Right.
Right. If you're struggling to just even read the notes or get the notes together and you're trying to do dynamic and all that stuff at the same time, it's too much. So forget the dynamic. In my opinion, just play it, just get the notes down.
Yeah.
Take one step, accomplish that. Say if you can play it 4 or 8 times in a row, what that does is it confirms, okay, I've got that.
Yes.
Okay? This is why repetitions are key.
Yes.
You have to confirm with yourself that you can achieve that in multiple successions because if you can't, that means if you had to play it once in the piece, your failure rate is probably going to be high.
Yes. So what Matt is talking about is really towards the beginners, but what I'm talking about is more for people who have been playing piano for a while, who are the intermediate level and or advanced, where they can actually handle adding the dynamics and the articulations in your playing from the very beginning. So in the beginning stage of playing piano and or playing a musical instrument, they do not have that many vary of dynamics. So it is quite simple. All you have to do is to read the notes and play the notes.
Yeah.
So.
And the reason why is when you're first starting out, that's too much stuff to add to the equation.
Right.
Okay. But yeah, the thing is, you might have to dissect a piece and simplify it.
Yeah.
It's better to achieve at a high level consistently than it is to take on too much and continuously struggle or fail. You're going to get frustrated and your muscle memory is going to kick in. You're going to start learning things incorrectly and then it's hard to break those habits.
Right.
Okay?
Right, exactly.
So yeah, you just have to monitor those things, right?
Right.
Let me go back to this statement about the gym being boring and doing the repetitions. And music can fall in that category too, right?
Yes.
One thing about music though is that before I got into music, in grade school, I didn't play music really at all. And I really realized I was a really impatient person. Right? And today it's like, we got phones, we got apps. It's like, order it on Amazon, boom, it's there the next day.
Right.
Netflix, stream it, it's there.
Right,
We're so
exactly.
used to like, boom, push a button,
Right.
and it's just there in front of us, right?
Yeah.
So we got all this instant gratification. And you know what? Music, like, it's not an app. It's not your phone.
Right,
It just
it's
doesn't work
not.
that way.
Right.
The good thing about that is it teaches us patience. You really got to learn to be patient with yourself.
Yes.
You also got to tell yourself, not to be like, hey, I need to be here at the end of the day. I need to be this much better.
Right.
If you're putting yourself up here right away and you're not taking in those small goals, those small wins, and feeling accomplished for those small wins and feeling
Right.
good about yourself for that, you're just going to get overwhelmed.
Yes.
And you're just going to kind of bring yourself down. So
Yes.
you got to learn how to be patient.
Yes.
You got to learn to be patient with the process. And I think that's why people who do go to the gym, they are patient. They're like, I'm going to do this for an
Right.
hour every day.
Yes.
They probably don't even like it, but their results are good.
Yes.
And they're patient with the process. And then I think the key with that is with the gym, and this is what I find musically was what I'm looking for when I practice, is to get into this thing like the zone. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Get into the zone.
Get into the zone, right? Where you're like, you're just in it and it's just happening, and like you're not thinking about time. You're not mentally exhausted. Like you're just totally in that zone, like a runner's high or something like that. And you're just in it and you're cruising. And I don't know, I've read stuff about this kind of thing, like, we got endorphins being released and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's where it's really like, that's where practice is fun.
Yeah.
In order to get to that zone, though, you got to have flow. If you don't have flow in your practice, you're stopping, you're starting, you're stopping, you're starting, you're frustrated. It's like being in the car in like, rush hour, jam traffic. Go a little bit, slam on the brakes, go a little bit. It's like, it's annoying. It's the worst. Nobody likes being in rush hour traffic.
Right.
If you're practicing like you're in rush hour traffic, don't do that. You want to practice like you're cruising on the freeway, but you're doing like 65.
Yeah.
You don't do 100, right? So you got to get into that flow, and I think the same thing with working out. Once you get into that flow, that's where a lot of positive things happen, and you feel good about yourself. So in order to get into flow, you got to get those repetitions. You got to be patient with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Patience is key. That's what I learned about myself. I was like, I got to take my time and just appreciate those wins on a daily basis, and just know, hey, you know what? I'm not gonna climb the mountain in one day. It's not gonna happen one day. That's okay.
Right.
It's just one foot in front of the other, right?
Yeah.
Little by little. And you have more of a long-term vision. So if I keep that, if I just put one foot in front of the other, if I do that for 3, 6 months, a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years,
Right.
then you're going to be at this level. All those things add up.
Right, exactly. I just want to mention that it was just about a week ago. I have this young student. She's been studying piano with me for about 6 months, and her parents just decided to create a video clip of where she was when she first started taking piano lessons with me on day 1 and all the way to 6 months point. And they created this little video of about
Like a timeline
right.
video of like all the progression over the
Right,
6 months.
over the progression and how much she has made progress. And it was a video of 3 minutes. And it was really... I really loved that video, just to see how my student had made progress from day 1 all the way to 6 months.
Yeah, and that's great. And it's awesome, right?
Yeah.
Because and even for the student, for the parent.
Yes.
So like
just for them to see. Sorry to interrupt you.
To see, yeah, for sure.
Because if you see where she was on day 1 and compare her to, maybe 3 months or 6 months, she has made a lot of progress. And the reason is because she was being very consistent with her practice.
That's a good
she
word.
She does.
Consistency, too.
Yes, consistency. So it's every single day that she's been practicing, of course, on those days that she probably went traveling and or, got sick or something. But consistently, she's been practicing. And so at the end, the results is really great.
Yeah, it's just like the
Yeah.
gym, consistency. You're not going to get any results at the gym if you do it once a week.
Right.
Or if you do it once a month. It is
Yeah.
just not going to happen.
Or-
Anything you do.
Or if you decide to go to the gym for 3 months and then you quit for a year and then you go back and you go
You're
to
gonna
the
lose
gym
it.
again for
You're gonna
3
lose
months.
it.
Right, exactly.
Right. So here's some cool things about that. One is that I think recording yourself, and this is what, the student and their parents did,
Yes.
to document, to see.
Yes.
Then you can see the progression and or you can evaluate yourself.
Yes.
Look, I think like an athlete, athletes watch the tape. The pros watch the tape.
Yes.
They analyze, they study, and they
Yes.
make adjustments and they improve. Today we can record ourselves. You got your phone.
Yeah.
Shoot a video of yourself.
Right.
Just use the voice memo, record, listen back.
Yes.
Don't be critical of yourself. It's just part of the evaluating process.
Yes.
And that's a great way to improve. And so that's what they did. They recorded everything. And then now you can see from day 1 to, 6 months down the line or 6 years down the line.
Right.
I record almost everything that I've done. I listen back like what I sounded like 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I thought,
Yeah.
hey, I'm okay.
Yeah.
And you listen now, you're like, oh, wow, I can really hear the improvement.
I know. I graduated from ASU almost 10 years ago now, and I did my graduate performance, my graduate recital, and I just listened to it the other day because it was streamlined online. You could actually listen to it online. It's
On the ASU
it's out
website,
there.
if you do a recital, it's on the website. You can access the recording.
Yeah, I don't know if it's ASU website. Yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah.
So, but if you just type in my name, you'll listen to a bunch of recordings online.
Where is that at?
I don't know. You just Google my name.
Okay, so
you
Google
my
Sherin
name, Sherin
Mustafa.
Mustafa Piano.
Yeah.
And then you'll probably, you'll see some profiles out there, on Google that you can find me, and there are quite a bit of recordings out there. So anyway, I listened to myself play from 10 years ago, and I listened to it today. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I played like that.
You busted your butt.
I
for all that
did.
stuff.
And so, you know what? Back then, I feel like, oh my gosh, I was so good. But today, I listen to it, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I would actually, make a little change in this area, and I will probably take a little time here, and there's just for you to self-evaluate.
Yeah, self-evaluate, but that's just the growth.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing about music. It's just about growth.
Yeah.
Just looking back later, I'm like, okay, cool. That was at one point in my life. Just like in life, we just continue to grow. So you look back, say, I thought it was pretty good, but now I know I could improve on it. Right? It's just constantly doing that, not being too hard on yourself.
Right. Yeah.
And just say, okay, I can hear the nuances, I can hear the differences now, and it takes time. It takes time to grow.
Right.
So recording and listening to yourself is a great way to listen back to where you're at, and you can make adjustments from there.
Right. Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, a lot of great stuff. We could probably talk about practicing
for a long
just
time.
improving like forever.
Yeah.
What to do with that. But I think the big thing is, we want to offer more of that stuff to you guys.
Right.
And Sherin has been learning about and kind of getting into more of this block and interleave practice method.
Yes, the random practice.
Random practice, okay.
Yes, so we actually did not talk anything about the random practice, but I just want to give you a general information about the random practice so remember we talked about the block practice is where you take just that one section and you repeatedly practice that for a while, where random practice is you take different sections of the same piece and you're going to be practicing approximately 2 minutes in each section before you move on to the next section where you practice for about 2 minutes and
so
you
like
go
shorter
to
chunks and
right.
moving.
Right. And so according to the research and the scientific studies, and it showed that actually the random practice is more beneficial than the block. Yeah, more effective than the block practice. Although they both they work for everyone, but the random practice actually makes you store the information in your long-term memory. And the reason is because the random practice, it makes your mind stay sharp the whole time. Because when you repeatedly do the same thing for a while, more than 2 minutes, 5 minutes, for example, or 10 minutes, you zone out.
Yeah.
And your mind is not staying sharp anymore.
Right.
And so this is why if you're picking out little chunks and little pieces in your music and you practice only a couple minutes in each section and move on to the next section, and actually keep you stay on your toes the whole time.
Yeah, you're changing it up.
Right, exactly.
You know, it's like doing it's the same idea. Can you get a good gym workout or a good exercise routine in like 10, 15 minutes? Yeah, you can. Mm-hmm. You're not going to do it if you did like 500. I mean, you could do 500 push-ups,
right?
If you want to do that. That's one thing. But usually if you did a 10 or 15-minute workout, you're going to hit 3 sets of push-ups real quick. You're going to move to probably 10 different things.
Right.
You're just going to blow through it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what the random thing is. You're just moving from thing to thing.
Yes.
Knock it out, but it's structured at the same time.
Yes.
Now, I'd also say this, and we'll get more into this stuff. By the way, so real quick, want to mention that we have, we're going to be running, or Sherin's going to be running.
Yes, we'll be running a workshop on Saturday, December 7th at 2:30 p.m. over here at our studio, Music Lessons Arizona at 7505 South McClintock Drive. In Tempe, 85283. So our suite number is 101. Coming here, it's completely free. It's open for all adults and or parents who have children who are taking piano lessons and or any type of musical lessons. I will be giving you specific tips on how to practice. And so I generally talk to you about the block practice and the random practice. Learning to practice music, it actually involves a lot with your mind practice as well. And so I will be talking about that. Yeah, so again, we're going to be doing, it's a free workshop. Anybody who's, musically, plays an instrument, could be piano, could be other instruments. Right. Sherin's going to talk more about block practice and random practice and more in depth about that, some strategies that can help you guys. And your mind, talking about just how... about your mindset. You gotta get the mindset too. You gotta have the right mindset to set yourself up for success. Yes. Okay. So yeah. Again, that's open. How can they sign up for that? How can they reserve their spot? So you will have to RSVP to our email address, which is Music Lessons Arizona, all one word, musiclessonsarizona@gmail.com. So you can just RSVP, say that you want to RSVP for the workshop for December 7th. So it's called the Practice Tips workshop. So email us at musiclessonsarizona@gmail.com. Include your name, include if you play, what instrument you play, if it's for you to learn more about how to help your child or your kid. Give us information about yourself so we know. Yeah. Okay, and then we'll respond back to you guys, and we'll reserve your spot for the free workshop. Okay. Right. Also, you can visit us online at musiclessonsarizona.com. You go to our website, learn more about the instruments that we teach. More about us. Yeah. Okay, we have a contact form there. If you guys want to go to the contact form, fill out information. There's some questions there, but feel free to reach out and/or post in the comments. Below. Yeah. If you have questions, post in the comments. Let us know if you like this subject, if there's more that you want to hear about this subject, or, if you want to reach out to us through the comments, we'll reach out to you and we'll reserve your spot. Yeah. If you have questions for us, please let us know. Again, our biggest thing is, music is awesome. Yes. When you know how to, be successful at it. Right. Nobody wants to do anything that they're not good at. Right. But that's just part of the process. Being good at something, you have to take the time and effort in practice and do the good practice to get to where you're at. Yeah, make it fun. Yes. Make it fun. Make it fun. Make it enjoyable for yourself. Yes. And just one last thing. So the workshop is at 2:30, and it's going to be approximately an hour and a half. And at the end, we will have some Q&A. So if you have any questions, you're struggling with your practice and you want some tips and or need help, I'll be happy to help you with that too.
Awesome.
So Q&A at the end.
So yeah, guys, again, musiclessonsarizona@gmail.com or visit us at musiclessonsarizona.com. Go to the contact form, post in the comments, let us know. Happy to help you guys. And look forward to seeing you guys on December 7th. So I think that'll be it for today. It's still
Sounds
raining
good.
outside. We got some rainy days. So hopefully that helps you guys in the practice room. And we'll be looking forward to hearing from you guys soon.
Yeah.
All right. Take
Well,
care,
have a
guys.
good day.
All right,
Bye.
Bye.